The one and only Chris Weidman joining us. It's been a while since we've checked in with the All-American. He's been very busy as of late. Look at him there. Wow, showing off that he's got AirPods. Big time. How are you,
right.
Chris?
How do I look?
You look great. You look great. Never been better.
Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach.
Close. Chag Sameach.
Okay. I tried.
Happy Easter.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Okay, so there's a lot going on in your life. Most importantly, how about those Islanders?
Unbelievable, huh? They're looking amazing.
They swept.
I'm excited.
And you're doing stuff. You're doing stuff for MSG. You're like doing like tailgate stuff for them. Is this going to continue as long as they go? Like you're coming for our TV jobs here. You're doing great. I love the stuff that you're doing.
I'm taking over, Ariel.
I love it.
Yeah, so I did the tailgating show at Nassau Coliseum. So we had our last game. Last game now is going to be playing at Nassau Coliseum, I guess last week. And so when they come back and play whoever they're going to be playing, it's going to probably be at the Barclays Center. And there's no tailgating there, so I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing, but I probably will be at the games.
So ridiculous, right? They need to just have all the games at Nassau Coliseum. Why even go to Barclays?
Nassau Coliseum is the best, man. I guess it doesn't have as much seats as you need in the NHL.
Right
now, they changed the capacity. But I was talking to some of the Islanders after the games because the energy inside there was insane, and I asked them, what's it like? How do you compare Nassau Coliseum games compared to going somewhere else? And they said that there's nothing like playing Nassau Coliseum as far as the energy that you get and the noise. So it's pretty sad that they're not going to have it there. I guess the next thing that they're looking to do is the building that in Belmont.
Right. Yep. But that's a few years away, but still very cool that they're doing so well. Now, other exciting thing in your life, your son CJ competing yesterday. Explain to me what happened here. So he was in. It's so crazy. I saw on your Instagram he has to weigh in. How old is he? He's like 6 years old. What's going on? Did he have
6 years old, man?
Did he actually have to cut weight?
No, he didn't have to cut weight.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? I'd be arrested if he had to cut weight. Even some of the older kids, when some of the fathers will start talking to me about how their kids cut weight, I'm like, stop it! You cannot have your kids cut weight. This young. It's so stupid. But so he did. It was the first national tournament. It was called War at the Shore. It was in Wildwood, New Jersey, and it was a great experience for him. I didn't know what to expect. CJ really wrestles like once, maybe twice a week. And he plays every other sport there is too. So he's really busy. A lot of these other kids, they're doing this full time, pretty early on. So I expected him to kind of get a beating, and he blew me away. He ended up taking second place in the tournament. He lost to a kid from Pennsylvania in the second round, and then wrestled all the way back. And they did something called a true second. So because he lost to the kid who won in the finals, the kid who took second had to wrestle the third place guy, who was CJ, and to see who the true second was. And CJ ended up winning that match, 14-second pin. So I'm really proud of him. But in all fairness, like next year is going to be way, way tougher. So he was born in 2012, so it was 2012 and under. And CJ was on the older year of that division. So he was a beast for a lot of these kids.
What's it like watching
next
him?
year? Oh man, it is stressful. I coached on the college level for a while, for 2 years, and so I've been in some big matches coaching, and you have to be able to coach, but also focus on the score, and also make sure you're not making yourself look like a complete idiot by getting too emotional. But when it's your son out there, I learned this in the States when CJ had won the New York State Championships, and there were some tough matches in that. And I realized when the match gets pretty complicated and there's a lot of scoring back and forth, and the ref might be screwing up the score, I am not in the loop at all. I have no idea what's going on with the score. So I'm just hoping they're doing a good job, because we had got screwed a couple points and I had no idea, and people were screaming at me. My wife screaming, "Chris, they messed up. He should have got an extra 2." And I'm like, I don't even know what to say. I have no idea what's going on. So I make sure now, no matter what, I have someone else in their corner with me that knows what they're doing, and they got my back, because when you're watching your son do it, it's way different than just watching another wrestler.
Okay, so that's going on. That's very exciting. I'm going to skip one and go backwards here, because you kind of had so since the last time we spoke, you had neck surgery. You also had knee surgery. Let's start with the neck. How is that feeling, and why did you have neck surgery?
Man, I'm a beat up man. So after my Jacare fight, about a couple days after, my neck started killing me. Um, I found out that I had a herniation on C5 C6, and basically they ended up doing an artificial disc replacement. So let me rewind. So I had the pain issue, but then I realized I had weakness in my left side, like doing push-ups were really hard, and my bicep strength was really down. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So for about 10 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks, I was on an anti-inflammatory diet. I was trying to do everything I can for that herniation to move off that nerve, so I didn't have to get surgery. But you only have a certain amount of time before that strength never comes back. So you have to get on top of it quick when you have that weakness. So the strength never came back up to 12 weeks, so I had to get a surgery. And so I had the surgery almost 12 weeks ago now. And they went in, they did an artificial disc replacement. So basically, they take out the herniation that's sitting on the nerve and blocking and creating that issue and creating that pain and creating the weakness in my arm and numbing and all that stuff. And they put in this disc, like this titanium and plastic disc, and they basically just hammer it in there and create a new disc. And it kind of fuses on its own inside your neck. And it doesn't, the difference between artificial disc replacement and a fusion is it locks up each one of your discs, and it could kind of compensate the rest of your spine. You start having issues long term up and down the rest of your spine because your spine isn't as mobile as it should be. So I'm happy I was able to get artificial disc replacement because so far the recovery's been great. As far as the neck pain is zero. I still have some weakness. It's catching up to my right side now, but that's been the most frustrating thing is getting the strength back over this last 12 weeks. Like my chest muscle and my bicep and some of my forearm was really weak, and it's improved like drastically over the last 12 weeks, but it's still not 100% the same as my right side. So still working on that. And while that was going on, my knee, I was doing a lot of workouts. Obviously, I was working out a lot, and my knee, I was doing a lot of sled pushing and stuff, keeping the cardio up and explosive stuff. And my knee started blowing up on me. So I got that checked out, and they found out that I had some osteophytes that were building up inside my knee, and some of them, I had some bone chips that were floating around in my knee joint. So I had to get a scope 2 weeks ago on my knee, and they went in and they shaved down some of the osteophytes, which osteophytes are basically like some bone growth. They shaved that down because every time I would bend my knee, basically like these spears, bone spears, were like jamming into my muscle and tissue and creating inflammation. So they shaved the bones down, and some bone chips that were floating around, they extracted those. And that was 2 weeks ago. So it should be, my knee feels so much better. Actually, I've had knee issues since since high school, to be honest. But my knee issue became a real issue probably in my junior year in college. My knee right now, whatever they did in my knee, it feels better than it has felt since college.
Wow.
So I'm cautiously optimistic right now on like where my knee could be moving forward. Because since I started my MMA career, I haven't been able to bring my heel to my ass. And like right now, it almost feels like I'm going to be able to. And I'm excited, especially when it comes to the wrestling and jiu-jitsu aspects. I've always had to kind of like work around that and figure out creative ways to not have to bring my heel to my ass. So I'm excited if I have that mobility back. I'm excited to where I can be.
How many surgeries is that now for you?
It's a personal question.
All right, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
No, I was just kidding.
You just went through like the whole like breakdown of it.
I'm gonna say it's either 22 or 23 surgeries.
No way. 22 or 23. Man. Dating back to the wrestling days as well, not just MMA, right?
Dating back to I was a sophomore in high school. I had my first surgery. Actually, you know what? So I'm counting everything I've ever had. I had an eye surgery. I had a lazy eye when I was in first grade.
Okay.
And they had to take my eyeball out and fix the tendons and behind my eye and everything. So I'm counting that as a surgery.
Yeah.
So, but my first surgery after that was actually orthopedic, was my sophomore year in high school. I had my lateral meniscus kept popping into my joints. and kept popping into my joint and locking out my knee.
Oh,
And I had to get emergency surgery for the first time as a sophomore in high school. And that on both my knees was always the issue while wrestling. And so I had to keep getting scopes and repairs and trying to do everything I can to try to keep that from being an issue all the way up until now.
so realistically, with the neck and the knee, when could you possibly return?
I'm hoping in the summer. I mean, if I'm not in training camp in June, there's something wrong. I mean, realistically, it really is going to come down to my strength in my on my left side. Like, I every day I'm just trying to check it, and like it's one of those things that could come back overnight. Like nerves are hard to really, have a timeline on. They said about 12 weeks. I should be about 99%. So after this interview, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do a workout, and I'll have a better idea if it's improving even more. Um, but as long as my left side catches up within the next couple of weeks, my knee should be 100% in the next 2 weeks. I can start training full time, and hard, and hopefully I can get a fight set up. Give it a couple of weeks to see how I feel, and then get a fight set up. And I'm hoping in the summer sometime.
Now, I remember after you've always been, a fan favorite, very likable guy, but after UFC 234, the bad guy in you came out. You were throwing shade on Israel Adesanya. You were talking about Anderson Silva, and I think maybe Israel has won you over.
Was I throwing shade on him?
It seemed like you weren't all that impressed.
I was just listen. People were going nuts on Israel. He's a very talented guy. He's got a great stand up, and now I know he's super tough after that last fight. But before he fought Anderson Silva, he fought Derek Brunson. He fought Anderson Silva, who's 44, who's known as a stand-up guy, which is a perfect matchup for him. And it was a very close fight. It's either you give a lot of props to Anderson Silva, or I don't know. But I think after. So at that point, people were saying like how he's the next big thing and all that stuff. And I just thought, at that point he was overrated. He hasn't been able to prove himself yet. He hasn't gone against a top wrestler. He hasn't fought guys in the top five. So I just thought people were getting ahead of themselves a little bit. That was it. I'm a fan of the guy. I like watching him fight. I would love to fight him. I think I'm a nightmare matchup for him. If you look on paper, if you just based on the paper, with my wrestling and jiu-jitsu and my size, I think I'd be a real problem for him. But I have nothing but, I think the guy's awesome. I'm not trying to put him down. I was just being realistic in the situation. He had never fought a top five guy yet.
Yeah.
Up until Kelvin.
I appreciate it.
That was it.
Did he turn you into a believer after the Kelvin fight? Because we just had Paulo Costa on, who said he wasn't impressed with him at all, even after the Kelvin fight.
No, I was extremely impressed.
Okay.
I actually thought, let me just be honest, I thought Kelvin was going to, I thought Adesanya was a tougher matchup for Kelvin than Whitaker was. I just thought the size and everything, the length, and how good he is standing, it was a little tough for Gastelum, just because Gastelum hasn't been a guy who has been looking to take it to the ground in a long time. So if he was going to start wrestling and stuff, especially he's a little smaller for the weight, it was going to be a tough matchup for him. But both those guys just put it on the line, and I have a crazy amount of admiration for both those guys, what they did in that fight. That was unbelievable. I think that might have been one of the best fights I've ever seen. So I give nothing but props to both of them. It was unbelievable.
You're not considering light heavyweight, right?
Yeah, I consider light heavyweight. Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't even know. We'll see. We'll see after I heal up what fights are available at 205 or 185. I could make 185 okay still, but I also could fight at 205. I wouldn't be the biggest 205 pounder, but I would do. I know I could do pretty well there. So that's definitely an option.
You're open to it. It seems like for the first time in your career, you sound more open to it than in the past.
I was always open to it, but I agree. Like I was so focused on getting my belt back at 85 for so long that I think that kind of like just it was too much. After every one of my losses, it's like, I just gotta get my belt back. I gotta get my belt back, and at this point, my goal is to whoever I fight, whether it's 185 or 205, just go back to just completely dominating and just smashing somebody. I think a belt will eventually come one way or the other as long as I focus on that.
Have they even reached out to you yet about opponents, dates, weight classes, anything like that, or are they letting you heal up and you reach out to them?
No, they've reached out to my manager a few times now,
Oh,
just seeing how I'm doing and stuff. But I think the UFC is a little over the place. They're not even sure like what's going on with me injury wise, um, and so my manager just keeps updating them. But I haven't heard one opponent thrown at me yet. Nothing like that. I just
okay.
heard there were some dates that they had sent at me, but it was even close to an option for me at this point.
And you were recently overseas with the troops, with the likes of BJ Penn and others. What was that like? And where did you go? You went to Afghanistan and where else?
So we went to Afghanistan, Iraq, Qatar, Germany, and Italy.
Wow.
We were supposed to go to Turkey as well, but our plane had issues. We were on a military plane, the C-17. We were with General Silva, a four-star general, who's like the number 4 guy as far as power in our country. So it was an unbelievable experience, especially going to the war zone. So going to Afghanistan and Iraq, we went to 4 different cities and 4 different bases, I should say. So we went to Afghanistan first. We went to a place called Bagram, Afghanistan, where actually after we left, 4 soldiers actually got killed with a roadside bomb right outside the base where we were.
Oh,
I'm not even sure they could have been on our show too. I'm not even sure, but it was freaking sad. And so we went to Bagram, and then we took a smaller plane to Kandahar, Afghanistan. And it was just crazy to be around these soldiers, servicemen and women that are sacrificing so much every single day. And we kind of forget when we're in the comfort of our homes in the United States. They're there like, months at a time without their family, and they're working. That's the other one thing I didn't realize. Like, they legally could make them work as long as they freaking want, I think, because most of those guys are waking up at 4:30. They have to do physical training, and then they start work at 7 a.m. and they work all the way to 10:30 at night, and they just keep doing that every single day. There's no fun times. Like, it's not a fun place to be. They're putting themselves at risk every single day. You know, there's chances of rockets, these rockets getting shot into the base, and obviously the roadside bombs, and there's gunfire. Like when we got up at like 4 in the morning, we started walking to get coffee, and we heard gunfire. Like, we're like hiding behind cars. Like, this is crazy, and it's just another day for them. And there's bunkers everywhere just in case they have incoming alarms coming. Like, I guess as soon as there's a rocket launch, these cameras pick it up around the base, and they'll start, the alarms will start going off, announcing incoming, incoming. And then you got to get down, either like if you're in the cafeteria or something, for example, you just got to get down at a table. If you're outside, you got to try to run underneath a bunker. It just was, it was surreal to be there, man. And then we went to Baghdad in Iraq, and then we went to was Al-Assad or Al-Asad in Iraq, another city, and it was crazy. Like, one of the coolest things for me was actually talking to a guy who's now working for the U.S. government, who is from Afghanistan, and his father was killed for being a musician like 3 or 4 years ago from like the extreme Taliban group, and so now his life goal is basically to get revenge on all these guys, and now
wow.
he's working in the U.S. government, but his whole family thinks he's dead. Like, they have no idea where he is, and he can't tell them, because if the Taliban finds out what he's doing, they'll kill his family. So it's a crazy thing, and like just how thankful he is for the military to be there, and how they don't want us to leave. Like, the people don't want us to leave. Somebody was telling me when I was out there that literally 0 women in the last 50 years had a education, went to school, and now since we've been there, like 20 to 30,000 girls started going to school. So we're doing some really good things for the people out there, and from what I'm being told, they do not want us to leave. They want as many of our troops there as possible, because if we do leave, it's not going to be in a good place.
Wow. That's incredible. I saw a video on your Instagram of a dog attacking you over there. It sounded like, or looked like the
Yeah.
worst time ever. I mean, holy smokes. I thought those dogs are supposed to like attack. Oh, here's the video right here. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
the dog is supposed to just like jump at you, but it's not actually supposed to hurt, but it seemed like it was hurting you and everyone was
It's
laughing at you.
terrible. So this was in Germany, and no, wait, no, I'm sorry, this was in Italy,
Ah,
and yeah, no, it went right through that fat suit and was biting the crap out of me. And these dogs are war dogs. These dogs don't just let go on command.
oh my God.
They have to be. This dog had to be choked unconscious to let go of me. Like, they had to choke the crap out of this thing.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I was in a lot of pain. My leg was all beat up.
Oh, look at
It
this.
was a great experience. But let me just
What?
tell you how they were so. You got to listen to this with volume on. I'm pretty sure I put that on my Instagram.
Yes, you did.
You got to listen to it with volume on. It's pretty funny. But like, the people, they were so happy we were there, man. Like, we really took them out of that element and made them feel at home again. Being around, entertainers, I guess, was making them feel. It made them feel so good, just not to be focused on everything they go through every single day. We were there with a country singer, Craig Morgan, Fleece Harry, BJ Penn, and then Makua Rothman, who was a professional surfer, Shane Victorino, who played for a bunch of teams and won the World Series, I think, twice. So we just put on a show. It was they appreciated it so much, and it was so much fun to be there.
You're a mensch, Chris. Thank you for doing this. I hope you heal up very fast. The neck, the knee, everything else. We miss you out there. I hope you return soon. And continued success to your little man. It's great to see him do so. And your daughter as well, who is like a dancing phenom. Between you and your wife, I feel like I'm I feel like I'm a part of the family. You guys do such a good job of documenting it. So thank you for all that.
My wife is unbelievable. Yeah, she's pretty good. Her Instagram stories
Yes.
are pretty detailed.
Thank you, Chris. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
There's the man, Chris Weidman, hoping he returns sooner rather than later. And how about that little nugget about 205? Curious to see if he follows in the footsteps of his rival, Luke Rockhold.